Okay, well, holy smokes, what a weekend. This is just absolutely crazy. We got LA up in smoke. It's going nuts. And full disclosure, it's not the entire city. It seems mostly to be Compton area and this sort of thing. They did shut down one of the major highways for a while. So to me, Blake, this is the failure of the melting pot ideology that America espoused. And they've actually, by default, not by design, at least not from any overt administerial position of any Democrat or Republican government that's been running the joint, come out and said, we are espousing a cultural mosaic. Because tragically, whatever you may say or however you may want to view it, this is what we're witnessing in Los Angeles is not a melting pot in the traditional sense that you come in a Mexican, you come in an Irishman, you come in a Ukrainian, you come in whatever you are, but you go out an American. You come in, I pledge allegiance, you lay your loyalties out, and you can honor your heritage and you honor your past and your ancestors and all this stuff. And your culture, if you're Irish, or whatever, have a Guinness, right? But this isn't what we're seeing in LA. We're seeing a lot of Mexican flags. We're seeing people in the, what are they calling the cafafis? Okay, well, let's
Antifa.
Yeah, we got, the Antifa. This is like, this year, make that picture just huge. This is Babylon Bee, a satirical site, illegal self-film, Republican presidential campaign commercial. More truth than anything could be imagined. And of course, this speaks to the mostly peaceful rhetoric that's been given. And I've got a couple more links to share during this program on this. But yeah, I mean, satire, but sure, the Republicans who use this kind of thing. And Blake, I've been talking with some, what an image that is. But I've been talking with, talking with some of my liberal friends, and they're saying, oh, Trump's doing this. This is Trump. He wants to get attention and make a big thing so he can come in like a hero and save the day. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. It's, they give me shit all the time about having my tinfoil hat on. Liberals, I got to challenge you and suggest that you folks are the ones with tinfoil hats, given the fact that these aren't Republicans doing this. They talk about the January 6th resurrection. This is the July 7th insurrection that's happening. These are illegals. This is the hill the Democrats have decided to die on. This was predicted before, as soon as Trump won, it was predicted. It was predicted even before. If Trump won, we knew that there was going to be the summer of discontent. And it's manifested. It's always in a blue state. California has allowed these people in. Blake, I know you got a lot to say on this as well. I want to play a link here. Sue, do you want to grab the Jolly Heretic for me? This is a great channel. It really sums up the disconnect and the language that the lamestream media is putting out, the legacy media. That there was one ABC report that said, they're just having fun watching cars burn. Don't come in there heavy-handed with the police. So I want to play the Jolly Heretic, and we'll leave a link to this. I don't want to play it all, but just give a sense of what's going on, his general thesis of what's going on here, Sue. And again,
in Los Angeles, riots against ICE, that's the Immigration Enforcement Authority of the American government. Things have been set on fire. ICE agents are being physically attacked. There are threats by someone called Hakeem Jeffries to dox these ICE agents in order to intimidate them. They are arresting people that have come into America illegally, who are inherently criminals. They are arresting. Some of these are worse than that. They are convicted of violence, convicted of sex offences, all kinds of things, and they're going into that community to rightfully enforce the law and take them out of the community and take them back to where they come from. And the result is huge riots that at the time of going to Pixel have been going on since Friday. It is now Monday. Serious disorder. These are inevitable, and what I want to look at in today's video from an evolutionary perspective really is why they are happening. But before I do that, could you do me a favor? Could you please subscribe? It helps me so violently if you do that. Could you
Yeah,
subscribe here?
definitely
And could you subscribe
to
to my Substack, jollyheretic.com, where I put all the most basic stuff I can't put on YouTube, where I put in-person interviews, vlogs, films I make, and where if you like what I do, you can support me for the cost of just a pint of beer a month. Okay, back to the video. So this is inevitable. This is the South Africanization, if you like, of the United States. The United States is all in its destruction. It's always going to be 20 or 30 years ahead of Britain. Britain is currently 80% white. In 1980, America was about 80% white. So we in Britain are looking at the future. This is what the future is, this kind of rioting. In essence, this is, it relates essentially to race. It is a distinction between America, which is white, or the founding America. Anyway, now America is probably only about 55% white, but the founding original America was white people, and in particular British people, and then more Germans, and then more recently other European ethnic groups, as against the Hispanics, and the Hispanics are a mixture of Native Americans and white people to varying degrees. This is what we are dealing with. They have gone in and to Los Angeles, where Los Angeles has an enormous Hispanic population. The county in which Los Angeles sits is only about 28%.
Okay, so really amazing. To no one's surprise, you incorporate a different culture. And, remember the Alamo, the great statement out of Texas. Remember the Alamo, Davy Crockett, and who was it? The Bowie, the Bowie knife, Jim Bowie. Yep. And all these heroes, these early American patriots standing there at the last stand at the Alamo. And then California, of course, always with the Hispanic flavoring and this sort of thing, New Mexico, Nevada, all these areas. But now it's like you've got a fifth column in your own country of people whose clearly their loyalty is not to the United States of America, but to all intents and purposes, it seems to be to Mexico and or a concept of Spanishism. You've heard of Pan-Slavism within the idea of the Russian idea with Ukrainians, with the Croatians, the Serbians, the Montenegrins, this whole Slavic world. Let me know your thoughts, Blake. Go ahead.
Wow, where to begin?
Yeah.
Number one, right off the way, it was for Texas independence at the Battle of Alamo. It wasn't U.S. patriots. They were Texicans at that time fighting for Texas independence.
Start. Yeah, fair enough. Davy Crockett. Okay, keep going.
I mean, we just to go back what you said earlier. I mean, this is pre-planned. This was organized, just like you said, the summer of rage of 2020. There's organizations that are funding this, and that's the problem. This isn't some kind of spontaneous, organic outrage. These are well-funded groups that have been organized to create chaos, just like they did through the Summer of Rage, which was the George Floyd, which they used to kick off. And then, of course, the Black Lives Matter came out of that, which created mass violence. People were murdered through all that period. People's businesses were destroyed and torched for no reason. They did nothing wrong. Many of them were ethnic background people from multicultural countries around the world. Their businesses were destroyed. So, I kind of like what I'm hearing from Trump when he's going after Gavin Newsom about this, because he deployed the National Guard. Newsom's, we don't want them. And, essentially this was the complaint before, that there was no security. Well, here he is. He's saying, I'll bring in security and they're going to block it. But I think what's scary about this is we're seeing this sort of groups of people being rallied up, used as a form of warfare or true insurrections that are being funded by groups that need to be defunded. And maybe that's part of it. Part of the what Doge found out was a lot of this money was going to these groups that were just working as operatives to create discord and violence, because that's what this is. This isn't peaceful protesting. This is violence. These people are destroying things. I saw one guy post and said, well, there you go. The truckers in Canada, it's just the same. And I went, not even close. Not one car burned. Not one protester rioted. Not one person was beaten.
Not one broken fucking window. They didn't even break a window.
Zero. Yeah. And I saw some Canadian media trying to give comparisons to that and what's happening in LA right now. But what's also concerning is, the people that are protesting are waving Mexican national flags. Well, we know that there's a strong presence of La Raza, which is a sort of a Latino supremacist organization. They want to see a repatriation, their idea of that the Latino countries, specifically Mexico, can repatriate California back into Spanish control, not in the country, but back into Mexico's control. And you see that kind of movement. But there again, who's funding these groups? And I'd like to, again, get Pam Bondi in there. And where's the law enforcement on the politicians that are stirring this up? These people should be arrested, because if they are racketeering, is what they're doing. They're creating walls. They're blocking government officials who are doing their job from coming into the cities. They're creating these quote unquote sanctuary cities, and they're saying, we're going to block you from coming in. Well, if they're going to do that, they should be arrested. That's an insurrection. When you're creating a military-like zone saying, we're not going to let you to come in to do your job. We're going to not allow you to come in. We'll use our own police forces against you. I don't know. I'd love to hear how some of these police forces are going to stand up. But the last point in the video you're showing, this is the concern, which we've got a video lined up for later, that if you don't have a melting pot where people are all becoming one under the same flag, united under the same effort.
That's the traditional model in the U.S.
Now you're getting into this balkanization, going to your earlier mention about Yugoslavia, where basically you have these controlled areas that become segregated by race, religion, or ethnicity, and it gets, as I said, the term balkanized comes up for that, where nobody will get along with anybody ever, and so what? We're going to blow it all up and become a series of self-standing states that are going to be always.
Hold on, because from my perspective, those independent states were there before. It was again the West with their overarching wisdom and all their fucking infinite wisdom. They said, hey, Serbians, you Serbian Orthodox religious people with your own value system that is distinct from the Catholics in Croatia, and you superimpose one overarching, hey, you're going to be all the same thing. You're going to be Yugoslavians. That's fine. That's, what do you call that? Oil and water, the two, they don't mix.
And throw in the Ottoman Empire into that mix too, and it wasn't good.
Well, that's the Bosnians, right? So, and Herzegovina. So you've got also this Islamic influence. They aren't going to be playing with the Catholics or dancing with the Serbians either. So this balkanization was the natural order of things. But that became more problematic. But let's take a look at this video, Sue, that you got. Here's the convoy. Now, what are we watching here? Because this is like, I guess, just a drive in. But obviously, this is nothing like it. Even when they were in... Okay, you get the idea. Go ahead, Sue.
It's a good little. It's not very long, but The point is, Carney called these people true Canadians insurrectionists.
Yeah.
And I mean, how different is it than what's
And
happening
different in
LA?
tone, different in message, different in execution. In the Canadian context, the worst they did was they established a bouncy castle. They also, 4 emergency vehicles, actually were in communication with the authorities and provided a lane of traffic for any ambulances. Contrast that with some of the Palestinian protests in Canada, where no such agreement was reached, and there's videos of ambulances stuck in traffic. They can't move. They're going nowhere. Absolutely diametrically opposed. Apples and oranges, 2 entirely different things. Okay, Blake, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was contrasting differences. How you have a true peaceful protest, and really was a revolution in Canada. If it wasn't for the truckers, we would still be under mandates, no doubt about it. If they didn't raise it up and rallied enough people, because it caught the world's notice. It wasn't just in Canada. It triggered similar protests in Europe, not tied to mandates, but more the farmers got together in the Netherlands to protest using their vehicles to do the same thing. And really the support for most of these movements were done at a very groundswell, what we call a real groundswell of populism. I mean, it was the people that were doing it together, and they were all different colors. They were all different backgrounds.
Correct.
And it wasn't like, as I said, like what we're seeing in Los Angeles now, and what you're seeing will most likely erupt in other cities too, that are, you said, are democratically run, where there is a staged group that are purposely causing violence, purposely causing damage, purposely going to kill people, because it will happen. I see they're destroying property like Waymos. Like, okay, you're going to burn a bunch of Waymos. That's going to do a lot of work. And Waymos, we don't know about, self-driving vehicles. But it's chaos. That's what they are. It's like they're the arch enemy from a James Bond flick, right? These people are in the background. I'm not talking about the frontliners who are all just basically peons, go with the crowd, wear my mask. I'm against fascism. I'm against this.
We still got to get those fuckers too. And I'm telling you why we get them is because they're the ones with the brick in their hands. They're the ones that are throwing rocks at police officers. Nobody threw a rock at any police officer during the Canadian protest against overreach government that our Supreme Court in Canada said was unconstitutional, given the limitations of the lack of a constitution for our country. But it was against the Canadian Bill of Rights. There was no justification for it. Overreach to the max. So again,
we'll see what happens if they. My point is, you got to find out the funding source, cut it off, because these people won't be doing that if they're not getting money. 2, the other side of it is cut the head off the snake. Find the snakes that are running and managing this in the back rooms, cut their heads off, just like snakes do, and throw them in jail where they belong, and make it very public. These are the people orchestrating this stuff. And if it goes right to the very top of the Democratic Party, right to the very top of the globalists in this world that are helping fund this crap, put them on a very public trial and get them charged, because these people have been doing this for too long.
The kind of reading I've been doing over the last few years has been the kind of thing where the idea was that things are like a tinderbox right now. You've got to go in surgically, because if you don't, we could end up with a civil war on our hands, and nobody wants that. So maybe some people do, like the people you're talking about, maybe they do. California is losing representation. People are leaving, abandoning that. California is in real danger of losing more seats. They've lost like 4 seats already, apparently, for the Electoral College. And that's an important component in establishing who's going to be the next president. If things continue, California could be a low-level player. The benefit factor of this mass migration out of California, emigration out of California, is Texas and Florida, 2 red states very interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Significant also, Blake, in that video we saw when you're talking about foreign money and other influences coming into play. There's one guy running around. It's not a Mexican flag. He's running with the Soviet flag.
I saw him in that video. He's running around with this Marxist flag. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous.
Well, here's something. I'll throw something out there just as very controversial and see what the peanut gallery thinks about it. I just want to say this one thing.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time the Democratic Party faces something that they faced at the end of the Civil War, because it was the Democrats who run the Confederate machine.
Yes.
The fact is that maybe we need Reconstruction too. We need to go, and that's what needs to be looked at. You need to do post-war Reconstruction, get the insanity that's built this up and build them back better, not in a WF term, but in a freedom. Bring them freedom. Freedom reigns supreme always. But maybe they need to look at that, because some of these cities, democratically run, and it is the cities, because you go to those rural areas in those states, they're red. I'm telling you, those counties that are rural counties and California, I've driven through those areas, 49er country, all that kind of stuff. 100% those people are salt of the earth. As soon as you get into San Francisco and LA, Sacramento, you get into the bigger cities like Portland or Seattle, that's where the insanity starts to goes crazy. So it's really very urban versus rural, but that's where their bases of operation are. It's the big urban centers.
Okay, let's take a look at this. What do we got? Harold Jonker, owner of Jonker Trucking, former councillor, Township West Lincoln, Ontario, has been acquitted of all charges related to his participation in that 2022 Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. Yonker, who joined the protests as a road captain for Niagara contingent, arrived in Ottawa January 28, 22, to oppose the thing, restricting the thing from cross-border travel and effectively eliminating their livelihoods. Of course, it was a legitimate reason to say no to government overreach. For the duration, blah, blah, blah. Yonker's truck remained parked on Coventry Road away from the downtown area, received no fines, no charges during his attendance. So no fines, no charges. He's been there for 3 weeks, no trouble. Regardless, 15 full months after the protest ended, he was abruptly charged counseling mischief, intimidation, and counseling intimidation. The trial held early last month, saw the Crown arguing Yonkers, blah, blah, blah.
But here's what I want you to read.
What's the point?
Notably, Crown witnesses admitted that emergency lanes were open and available during the convoy, a fact that stands in direct conflict with what the public were being told.
Correct. You're going to see that as the second sentence in the third paragraph there. So, we know that there was bullshit. We know they lied. They always lie.
Yeah.
And this is why there's so much kickback from the people. Blake's 100% correct when he says this thing's being orchestrated. There's a lot of money behind this thing. They're kicking, it's like you got, got a friend of mine was telling me about a bear that got struck, and it's on its last legs. And it's the last gasp of a desperate political left, because the Democrats are in danger. What are they down at? 19% approval right now? That is going to drop further following all this activity. You cannot blame it Trump. You cannot lay the blame at Trump's feet when all he's saying, we want legal people here. Immigrants are fine. Trump said that many times. We want them here legally through due process, the way it should be, not illegally. But to stand up in the face of the government's very reasonable approach to things in terms of, you're an American, pledge allegiance, salute the flag, become an American, all you weary, become and join, become one with us. But none of this isolationist, little Mexico, big Mexico, California, let alone sanctuary cities. California is becoming a sanctuary state through its inept leadership. Huge problems, and it is absolutely fascinating. We called the episode here, by the way, what is it? Manson's, what the hell did I call it? I got Charlie Manson said that there was going to be a race war between the blacks and whites. Well, he was kind of right. It's more actually with people of color and independent, minority peoples collectively
Yeah.
for various reasons. We got Antifa, we got the Palestinian contingent. They're causing trouble everywhere. But
You called it Manson's Blackbird singing.
Blackbird singing. Paul McCartney did the song Blackbird, Blackbird singing, dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. And some people, I don't know, McCartney really was going that way, but other people superimposed upon McCartney, because back in 68, I don't think you said anything about it. But one of the black activists at the time said, oh, this is about the black people and, civil rights. And, it's our time to sing, it's our time will come. And it's here now. Power to the people, black people, right? Black power. And so it all dovetailed in with that. Charlie Manson saw that, called it helter skelter, the great race war he predicted. Was Charlie a prophet, Blake? Was the crazy man from LA right about it? You can't kill me, I'm already dead. Okay, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't want to give Charlie Manson any credit for anything.
All right.
So, but the reality is there is forces that always been working towards instability, be it foreign influence, be it financial influence. There's people who profit from instability. And I said, I always try and follow the money. Who's going to make the money off this? Yeah. Who's going to win this battle? Because there's big forces that want control. We're seeing this global, and again, these people look at it and say, what do you mean by globalists? Well, the globalists are people who don't believe there should be any national borders for them to control. They believe that they're transnational. They can wear all flags if they want. They don't care because it doesn't matter.
What flag you're waving.
Yeah.
All right, Blake, check this. We've got the Mexican president, El Presidente, calling for protests in USA. Say what? If necessary, we'll mobilize. We don't want taxes on remittances from our fellow countrymen from the U.S. to Mexico. The bill's going through Congress would tax 3.5% of all money sent to Mexico. Mexico, it looks to me like they are gaining a little bit of a kickback from all this kind of money that you've got. Mexican citizens, they aren't Americans, Mexican citizens in America sending money back into Mexico, out of the American economy. Trump, being America first, USA first, is saying we're going to tax that. And I think he's absolutely right to do so.
I tell Breakfast that
don't leech with it.
I'm not going to tolerate that bullshit. If you're going to say something about me that's not true, I'd love to see a lawyer talk to you about that, because that you're saying something I'm not at all.
Yeah.
I'm not an anti-Semitic person. Matter of fact, I'm pro-Israel. So I'm just the opposite of you, motherfucker.
He's big time pro-Israel.
Yeah.
So you'd be wrong about that, Paul. Breakfast King of Loyola, one of our liberal pals, and but don't even take these guys seriously. Paul has actually been, he's been evaluated psychologically. He's actually functionally retarded. But I love him. I just love you, Paul. And you just keep going. Listen. He likes to go out rough and tumble. He has to wear his hockey helmet, and I don't make fun of that at all. Like, you just look after yourself, Paul. You're like a little go-getter, you. But anyway, yeah. So we've got all this sort of problem, with this globalists. Here's an interesting thought: globalists versus humanists was a theme in Isaac Asimov's 1983. This is late in the day for Asimov. In those terms, wildly, Asimov sided with the humanists against globalists in the futuristic robot novel. And if he had done that novel in Globalists versus Humanists, 1983, that's late. Asimov's been around for a long time, was doing a lot of stuff. Of course, he's gone now. But one of the greats, iRobot, he did a lot of the robot morality surrounding artificial intelligence, robots, this sort of thing. Okay, next up, let's look at, the whole idea where they go peaceful protests, how they're framing this, how the media constantly gets it wrong. Can you do the Lives of TikTok? Fun burn. We're going to do that one. Let's go have a fun burn. And this is one I want you to play here for this. So, okay, holy smokes. Several members of the vinyl, I'm a proud member of the Vinyl Committee, Collect Records, are involved in the LA riots. Oh, holy smokes. Alarming if true, allegedly. All right, what do we got? Here we go. Okay, so what?
If you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
So a
large group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive.
We're just having fun watching cars burn. That's
propaganda.
What when Rome's going down.
Oh my.
Propaganda.
Yeah, isn't that horrific? Can you imagine? They're talking about January 6th, a massive insurrection. It was nothing. It was contained within the property of one building. This fucking thing they're shutting down freeways. They're all over Compton. It's absolutely blocks upon blocks upon blocks, stores, the usual. I'm watching them running out with the TVs, the usual suspects with TV in hand. And of course they're all masked up and hooded up as they're making off with their ill-gotten goods. Absolutely, selfishness on a level that you can't believe because, first of all, they're stealing, they're robbing. Of course, LA's got these stupid laws where, it's okay to rip them off as long as it's under $700. I think we're okay with that criminal type. We don't even want to call you a criminal in case it hurts your feelings. So, I mean, this is absolutely nonsense. But to frame that with vehicles burning, these are kids. Let boys be. Those just boys being boys. They like watching cars. They set the cars on fire that they don't own. Are you going to pay for that, ABC?
Well, it'll just be more insurance that won't be covered in California.
Now, Sue, what link have you got in? Is that the one we just watched?
Cloud Prevent Strategy.
Okay, let's take a look. Blake, talk to me about this. This is a Cloud Pivot strategy. This has been talked about a lot. This is an old document, ideological narrative that was kind of put out in the 1960s. Let's take a look.
Yep.
Blake, I'll let you look at this one.
Yeah, it's just called Create a Crisis and Manage It. That's essentially what it is in a nutshell. Well, I can read it. Yeah, the Cloud Pivot strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologist and political activist Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. It is the strategy of forcing political change through societal collapse through the orchestrated crises. The Cloward-Piven strategy seeks to hasten the fall of capitalism by overloading the government bureaucracy with a flood of impossible demands, amassing massive unpayable national debt, and other methods such as the unfettered immigration, thus pushing society into crisis and economic collapse.
All right. Thank you, Blake. So, yeah, this is it's an actual ideology that's been incorporated by the left. They're using it to effect, and, full credit to the left that they are able to generate this kind of fifth column movement. In so much, I mean, would America be better off without California? Maybe just put let them be their own thing. Would let them unite with, give California back to Mexico.
Give them I mean, you could just carve out LA into a city state.
Well, because you got all that beautiful red area around it. So we just let the little blue areas pocket.
Should do that in Canada too. There's a few cities we can outline off into their own little enclaves.
Latest word on Greta was that the Israel Defense Force, the IDF, intercepted her.
Yeah, she's on the Love Boat.
Yeah, came on the Love Boat, the yacht, and basically said your little party's over. Here's the thing. It's the sense of entitlement these motherfuckers have. You're just going to come into Gaza, come into Israel without any due process, or you're just going to illegally enter the country? What the fuck do you think you're doing? Oh, we're now in Israeli waters. Fuck you, says Israel, to their credit. Meanwhile, there's a great meme or a picture out on YouTube, on X platform. Unintentionally hilarious, tragic in this way. They've got a bunch of Somalians. I think they were from Somalian refugees and a little raft kind of boat going. and it's just dwarfed by the massive yacht that Greta's in as they sail right by these fuckers. Just leave them alone. We got a mission to get into Gaza. Fuck you. You're the wrong kind of refugee, motherfuckers. I can't believe it. It's absolutely nuts. What do you think, Greta? How's she doing? Any word, Blake?
Well, I saw a video of her asking for her people in Sweden to get her out of jail. It's like, I don't know if she's in jail. Have you ever seen her in multiple videos, how they get arrested?
Yeah.
It's when the video's off, all of a sudden everyone's polite, nice, and then all of a sudden her face can change from happy to pouting as soon as the camera comes
it's
on.
like the Gremlins movie when they got water on them. They all different. Okay, here we go. We got the clip. Here it is. This is what do we got going on here? Okay, there's the Somalis, the little one there. There they, and here comes Greta. Going by. See, we got a mission. We're on a mission from God. It's absolutely ridiculous. So they're fucking Somalis. You fuckers can paddle your way to North America. My God. Mike Sweetie in the house. Hello. Mike, good to have you on board. Ladies and gentlemen, Blake and I are here every day but Wednesday at noon. So we appreciate you giving us a thumbs up. Put a like on each and every video. We're a young channel, still growing, finding our way in the wilderness out here, but we're having a great time. So much stories. You can't turn away for a second, Blake, without another story coming up and kind of hitting us on the head here. Oh, okay. Okay, we got a bunch. Oh, okay. Well, I've done that. Ignore that one. Okay, Blake, do you have one that you want to go on?
Yeah, I put it in the chat. I think it kind of covers what we're talking about these countries that are being almost simultaneously in the West being broken apart and destroying its fabric of nationality. And it's the one about, you'll see it in there, Sue. It's Carney says, Muslim values are Canadian values. This has caused an uproar in Canada because people are seeing what's going on in the UK. Even Tommy Robinson has come out and said, Canada, you fucked up on your election because you just basically elected a guy who's like our guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the link is in the private chat.
It's in the private chat. It's you're basically the same. You and Blake are doing pretty much the same thing. I see two links there.
Yeah, you can do you could do either one, yours or the one I put up there.
They both kind of do the thing, but
yeah, he's getting hammered because if you can play the video one, is that the video?
Yeah, what Bernie says Muslim values are Canadian. Well, let's see how he does their video with this.
This one's not. I'll get you a video one.
Okay, so
you have to hear what he's saying because it's classic virtue signaling, but you just don't know it, Carney, because he is a WF general. I mean, this guy sat on the board. He's one of their biggest advisors. He's a WF banker. He's a Goldman Sachs guy. He's a $1 trillion asset manager. I mean, this guy is all the guys that everybody talks about that are part of the World Economic Forum of buy everything, you'll own nothing, and be happy crowd.
Okay, here's another take. Rebel News, great media. You should subscribe. These guys are a little bit of kind of give us some money kind of thing, a little too much that way. But barring that, they do some good reporting. Here we go. Mark Carney speaks at Eid al-Adha, Celebration Nation's capital. Our Canada is a diverse country. All of us must come together around the values of Eid. These are Muslim values. These are Canadian. Now, I can't get around the values of Eid. I'm a Christian, for the love of God. Are you telling me to blaspheme my God? What kind of idiot are you?
Resonates in this room, across this city, and I may say it should resonate with all Canadians. It's a story that some of us hear with slightly different nomenclature, whether the prophet is called Ibrahim or Abraham, Ishmael or Isaac. The lessons and values of Eid are the same.
It's awful.
Which is heresy from a Christian perspective. Do you know that in the Quran, and I know my Bible, and I've read the parts of the Quran, in the Quran, the son of promise is not Isaac, the original. Keep in mind that Islam does not become big on the street till 632 A fucking D. Anno Diem, or whatever, the after Christ, right after the resurrection. Okay, remember the old days they used to do it, and before what do they call it? The common Christian era. They got all this whole because they want to decentralize Christ. They want to remove God from everything. The bunch of blasphemy.
Well, if the values are, and they say they love this term, mostly peaceful, but if 60% are mostly peaceful and 40% are not, because that's what they said, the data has been through research on some of the extremist policies we see in Islamic countries, that 40% of how many people? 1.2 or 1.3 billion people on Earth. Wow. So 40% of them would kill me for what I believe in. So I it's funny because he's saying this is a Canadian value. Let's remember, Queers for Palestine. How long are they going to last in any Islamic country? What? How about all you neo-feminists out there? Where are you going? Oh, we love Islam. It's going to protect our rights.
What?
Where are you, liberals? Where are you in this? Because you don't. You're bullshitters. You blabble on about how great everybody is, kumbaya, and these are the people who will throw you off of a cliff if you're gay, stone you to death for having an affair or an alleged affair, beat your wife up because, hey, it's okay to do that once a month, or let's go marry a 9-year-old girl.
Hold on, because of YouTube's stringent guidelines for getting into an area where I just like to say, I too am a Muslim. I'm happy I eat like I'm celebrating along with you for this incredible day we're having here. Gosh, darn, I've got my head covered properly as a trans woman of color. I should stress that before you take my TV show on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Blake, they're, have problems in paradise. But it's from a different culture. Islam is not part of the Western tradition. It's part of the Eastern tradition. And so it's a whole different ballgame. And theologically, doctrinally, of course, Isaac is the son of promise. Abraham is not Abraham. It's a whole different kettle of fish. And Jesus Christ, hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, not Muhammad, not Allah. It's Jehovah God as described in the Bible. So sorry, that's my belief. That's how it's going to roll for me. So I've got to, even from a Christian theological perspective, reject his idea of Eid al-Akbar, or whatever the hell they're calling that holiday. With all due respect, YouTube stringent guidelines, friends. Holy smokes. We're going to get it.
I want to see some liberals square that angle somehow about how they can connect and share the same values, because that's what the Liberal Party of Canada is saying, is that we share those values. Can someone square that for me, please?
Let's move on. We're always interested in the weather. Now, we don't talk about climate change again because of YouTube stringent guidelines. So what we call it is crazy weather. Gosh, there's some crazy weather. Sue, can you just pick any one of your crazy weather news items that you've got for us here?
This one's a long article, so I just want to put it up so you guys can check it out.
Okay, the long article. We won't read it all here, but the idea... Shocking truth revealed about what's really happening. Watch On Guard, Podlink before. A report on the World Wildlife Fund reveals that Canada is already at net zero. What? And another one for the U.S. shows how cattle are not to blame for greenhouse gas emissions. Plus, how Plantier could come to Canada. I don't want a Plantier. It's like a wart that you get on your foot. If you get one of them Plantier's warts, nobody wants that. That's horrible. Sue, just drop a link for that for the kids to read the rest on their own recognizance.
Now check this
ladies
one out.
and gentlemen, there you go.
Here's another.
And then we got a follow up, and we're calling this wacky weather segment on TV show. Just wacky weather. Okay, let's see how wacky it's getting. Okay, what do we got here? Canada has always been at net zero due to our boreal forests. They capture more carbon than we've ever produced. Canada has 594.7 billion trees. I like the 0.7 because they know exactly how many trees are here. Canada produces 559 megatons of carbon dioxide. To capture all of Canada's CO2, it takes 25.7 billion trees. I got to tell you right away, I understood there would be no math. I can't believe I'm losing this. But, you know, it's absolutely crazy. So the math doesn't add up. Canada's doing pretty good.
We've got 569 billion unemployed trees.
565 billion unemployed trees in Canada.
We must find a way to tax them quick for breathing.
They want to.
4D, my good friend out of Manchester, England. YouTube is responsible for more new euphemisms in the latest dictionaries than any other jab happy factor you can name. I know you gotta dance around this stuff because we live in an age, a time where you just can't come out and tell the basic truth of things, right? It's just absolutely nonsensical. Okay, so we got the thing.
Let's talk a bit about Carney and his speech today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you go talk about that a little bit, Blake?
Yeah, lead the way, because I've been watching LA burn.
Yeah. Well, essentially, it's an ongoing conversation we've had for a couple weeks here. Which direction is Carney going? Is he taking us into a union with Donald Trump and the USA, or are we? It's more doublespeak. It's hard to read what he's saying, but it sounds like he's back to, well, we're looking at the possibility of connecting or joining the EU. But, I've been watching pollsters come out saying that more Canadians would be happy to join the EU. And so when I see polls coming out like that, those are government-sponsored bullshit push polls. So anybody, they're all through the mainstream media. They put that out there to try and portray a narrative. But most Canadians would be like, yeah, no, we don't want to be part of the EU.
There's a freaking ocean away from, we're separated by the freaking Atlantic.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think he's still talking. I mean, he made an announcement today that Canada is going to make its 2% of GDP target for military spending, and we'll be on 5 years ahead of schedule. So that's more catering towards what Trump wanted and NATO, the contributions there. But he's still back to rearming Europe. Like, how are we rearming Europe? But he's talking about military manufacturing here in Canada to sell to the world. Well, that's fine and dandy, but I mean, come on. What's going on here, Mark? Are you EU or are you USA? What are we doing? Are we doing North American Union? Is he playing both sides of footsies? But if you look at it, a lot of people are accusing him of today of saying that he wants us to join the EU, which is a strong possibility as well.
Well, the whole thing is, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you could do it in name, but the practicalities of it would be just ridiculous. Oh, excuse me while I hop on a plane. If you're in Luxembourg, and you're just, hey, I'm just going to hop over into France here, it's no big deal. But if you're in Canada, and especially in British Columbia, and you're trying to get to Europe, good luck. Good fucking luck. Yeah, we didn't have to check my passport after I got on the airplane, flew halfway around the world to get to my fellow EU member. It makes no sense. All right.
Well, what's interesting, because he's talking, let's see if we can hear what he's saying here.
Okay. Carney goes, let's read the preamble. Carney promises money to arm Europe, distance itself from America, talks to our defense industry as if we could even beat the Salvation Army in a fight. Man is delusional and dangerous to Canada. Let's see what he says. Allegedly.
Actively seeking to strengthen
Make it go big.
transatlantic security, particularly by becoming a participant in Rearm Europe. This will help diversify our military suppliers with reliable European partners and integrate the Canadian defense industry as full participants in 150 billion euros of Europe's rearmament program. To these ends, the Canada-EU summit later this month will be more important than ever. And Canada will arrive at this summit with a plan to lead, with new investments to build our strength in service of our values. This will include our support for a new NATO defense industrial pledge which will be negotiated at the NATO summit. The Defense Industrial Pledge encompasses both assets and infrastructure that support our defense goals. Canada.
Okay, so this guy is running around talking, say we're going to retighten with NATO. NATO's got problems right now. NATO is literally under the gun. The Russians are giving them a black eye right now in the Ukraine, that proxy war that's being fought. Russia is under no delusions that they are fighting against anybody other than NATO. They're fully cognizant of the fact that this thing has only lasted as long as it has because NATO has been the main strength and arm for Ukraine in terms of giving them arms, supplies, and everything. This thing would have been over a long time ago without that interference. And of course, Zelensky running around with his hand out going, hey, America, I need another $300 billion for the day. Canada, I think we've pledged $5.8 billion over the next 10 years for them. Just for the Ukraine, to help the Ukraine. What the fuck? I mean,
I thought it was 500 billion, wasn't it, for 10 years?
I have no idea. $500 billion. Wow.
50 billion a year. Yeah, on the rebuild.
Oh, well, it's just money. We'll just print more.
I know.
Yeah. So thoughts on this, what he's saying there, Blake?
Carney is hard to read. He has the gift of the doublespeak. He can say like he's sounding like he's talking to this group of people.
Well, we lost your mic there for a sec, Blake.
Oh, hear me there?
You're back. You're back.
Yeah, so it sounds like he's talking to one group over here and he's talking to another group over there. So you can't read him because when he's saying what the NATO commitment or to get to 2% GDP is what the NATO commitment was supposed to be, that also satisfies Trump's requirement that Canada ups its ante in defending North America. So let's remember, NATO is also Canada, the US. We're part of that. So essentially, I think what we're going to see here is that he doesn't want to, I do believe this, he does not want to come across that sounds like he's all in on with Trump. I think that deal is still cooking. And we're coming up to the G7 meeting very quick here. There's supposed to be a deal being announced between the two. We're watching that closely. We'll see what happens. But when we're starting to rearm Europe, if we're building arms here in Canada to sell to Europe, that's war profiteering really in some ways, but that's what they're buying arms. Sure. I mean, French sell Mirage jets. Why can't we go back to the Avro Aero and build brand new ones? I don't know, compete with F-35s. But the bottom line is it's hard to read this guy. Where are you headed? And here he says it again, align with Canadian values. Please, Carney, could you please tell us what Canadian values are? Because you're all over the map on that one. But he talks like a banker. He's never committing 100% to something, and he speaks right up the middle, so you don't know what direction he's heading. So
I guess he's being very pragmatic at the end of the day here. He's trying to walk a delicate line because if he pisses Trump off, Trump's just going to hurt him with more terror.
Well, the lefties in Canada will not handle let's just say not the 51st straight, but they probably, led by Carney, would agree if it's maintained Canadian sovereignty is a North America-wide, not just a simple trade agreement, but a unified marketplace, a unified security perimeter. But with Canada still holding, much like the EU, but for North America, and much stronger and less bureaucratic. That's what I would hope that this goes to. But it sounds like that's the direction he's still going. It doesn't sound like he's going EU. I know a lot of conservatives out there trying to bounce this around as, Carney's selling us out to Europe, and because they think Poilievre's going to come in and save the day next year. But I highly doubt it. I think what we're seeing here is still on the march towards Fortress North America, the North American Union.
Check this out, Blake.
Okay, Blake, here we go. 2 days after Carney wins, Brookfield is looking to invest billions in the U.S. to build plants for companies looking to avoid Trump's tariffs. Yep. The liberal voters got played by Carney and Trump. They are working together. Idiots. And then there's larger article. I'll let the people read the article themselves. But what I want to say, Sue will drop a link there. And I want to say thanks to Sue again for doing Journeyman's laboring on all these stories that she brings to us here on the channel. Is that a new link up there, or is that the same one?
Same one, yeah.
Okay, I'll delete that. So Sue will get it and put that out for you. Okay, Blake, in the time we have remaining, any closing thoughts on today? Anything standing out to you? And then I'll add my 2 bits, and we'll call it a day, and we'll reconvene tomorrow.
Sounds good. It sounds like it's holiday in Cambodia for all you Dead Kennedys fan in the LA. So, surf in Nicaragua.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's again, we got to be careful. Don't listen to the mainstream media. They're the ones that are trying to churn up the heat and create another summer of rage. That's exactly what this is. It's part 2.
Unless it's ABC, they're just saying good kids having fun watching.
That's right. Burning places down and yeah.
Let's go out on a funny note.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. What's something funny here?
Okay, Sue's got some here. I have no idea what she's got in store for us. Let's take a look.
Oh, this is a clown.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Okay.
My deepest condolences to the late Mark Carney, and as someone, my deepest condolences
Look, anybody
to the
doesn't
late
know who
Mark
that
Carney,
is.
and as someone, my deepest condolences to the late Mark Carney, and as
Okay, so is that AI?
No, that's real. It was just Mark Garneau. Mark Garneau, the former astronaut, passed away.
Mark Garneau, the astronaut, and he called him Mark Carney?
Mark Carney passed away.
Well, okay, full disclosure, the guy talking, I think he's only been in the country 4 weeks or something, so you don't know. He doesn't know our values yet. We
call him Art Carney. We make the mistake calling him Art Carney.
Yeah, I call him Art Carney. I think I'm closer to the mark on that, Blake. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching the program again today. We'll be back tomorrow with another political dinner. Lord knows what could happen in the world between now and then, but we'll try and inform you as best we can. We love you. It has nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with your godless communist leaders in California stirring up an insurrection. There's the blood of those people on your hands, but I got to remember the poor kid. This is Paul. I love him so much. Functionally retarded. And with that, we'll leave you home for today. We'll be back tomorrow.